Welcome to the Entertaining Stupid Podcast, a hobby and excuse for me and my friends to meet up and actually spend some time together. We'll ramble on and test the limits of how much time we can actually be in the same room with each other. Pull up a chair and join us.
I thought you were joking that you're phoning Connor.
No.
I'm dead serious.
Hey Connor, I have Dan here with
Yeah,
me right
sorry,
now.
I forgot to confirm. Yeah, 100% I'm coming.
Well, okay, good.
Yeah, no, man, I'm really shitty at that.
Dan, I've called Dan. I left your message.
Did you call me?
Yeah.
Still, you want to put it at that?
Well, you know, you love it. No, you didn't leave them all.
my
Apologies. You know what? I did the same thing to my cousin too, because she had to call me and say, "Are you coming?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, I am. Yeah, sorry, I'm totally coming."
Shit. What are you guys doing tonight?
We're recording a podcast right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, other than that,
Watching Chelsea pack my gravel pad. Oh, yeah. She's doing a great job. Send you guys a snap. But I'll talk to you guys later.
all right,
Okay.
All right, Joey.
all right.
Phoned you.
He
Left
did-
messages.
No, he never left. He
Steam
didn't.
message.
He didn't text me. He could have literally just texted me and said, "Hey, are you going to my wedding?"
He probably texted you like a while ago.
Yeah.
No, he did. There's no way he did.
Go to your Connor
No,
conversation.
there's no way I ignored him.
Because, yeah, the text message I got from him, well, I asked him, like, hey, your wedding's on the 28th, right? He's like, yes, it is. I'm like, perfect. He's like, hey, have you talked to Dan lately? He's not responding to texts or calls. I
How
need
long
to know
ago
if he's
was it,
coming.
Dan? When was it? When did he text you?
Yeah, well, Monday. Just this Monday.
Well, that's not that bad. It's only a week ago.
He gave us all those invitations like what
Oh,
in
God.
like
June?
yeah
Oh, before
May
that, May.
end of May there.
Yeah. Jesus. I hate that though when it's one of those. You get the text and you even like scroll into it so it's not on your
Yeah.
notifications anymore, and then you're like, oh, I'll text that in like 2
It
minutes.
would have been at work too, because I always do it at work, and I look and I'm like, okay, I'll respond in a second.
Yeah, I'll respond, or
Yeah.
when I'm done
And then
work,
you
I'll
totally
respond.
forget about
It's-
it.
Well, that's the worst.
Alrighty.
Oh,
So,
ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls, children
pull it
all
up,
around the
Davey.
world,
objects
welcome.
of somewhat human distinction.
Welcome to the Entertaining Stupid Podcast. My name is Jason, and as always, with my friends today are.
Sylvan.
Dan.
And Rail.
So, boys, I'm just gonna continue off that last conversation we just ended off there. There's a lot of weddings coming up for everybody.
Yeah.
We're
Think of one.
we're getting to that point in our lives where all of our friends are getting married. What the hell are we doing?
Jacking it.
Jacking it in San Diego.
I am fervently believing that I am going to have a bright future with my at least 7 or 8 cats. Because they could love me as much as a normal person would, and yet they can't leave me because I feed them.
Yeah, and you keep them inside.
It's kind of like a. Shit, I was gonna say kind of like a girlfriend.
Well, I mean,
Is that Chelsea?
a girlfriend that you keep locked up in your basement, maybe.
We don't talk.
She's
about that
inflatable.
one.
It's okay.
No, but that's... I just need cats.
Question: have they made like a voice AI robot home system? All right.
Try again.
Yep. If it'd be kind of like the Amazon Echo, Google Alexa, Quantum Belango thing, but then it's just like it would activate on its own. Where it's like you walk in the door, it's like, hey, how was your day?
I don't
Like,
think our computers are that sentient yet.
Make
I don't know if I want them to be that sentient.
It's gotta just be
Ooh,
some fake ass combos.
Let me. I want to say there was like a hologram virtual thing in Japan.
We haven't figured out holograms yet.
Fuck. Let me see if I can
Like-
find it.
Like, okay, so it knows when you walk in the house. Then next thing you know, it's like from the kitchen you hear, Sylvan, your heart rate is increasing. What are you doing in the bathroom?
Nothing.
Oh, God, I own this house.
Yeah, it can be
I
really,
own you.
it can be really
I
intrusive.
pay your bills.
Don't condescend me.
It's like, don't you talk to me like that. It's like, I made...
Wait,
well,
isn't there those fucking like sex dolls that talk back?
Oh, probably.
I think some of them where you can get it with like
So
not a nice personality.
so
Hey, if your kink is to be talked down to, like,
It's something.
that's your business.
so in
Oh,
Japan
shit.
there is a holographic version of like Alexa essentially. Alexa Google
Rail,
Assistant.
there is hope for you, yes.
Fucking,
So-
we're getting there, boys.
So like if there's this
this commercial here, and it starts off with the guy walking home from work, and he comes home.
This is just making me
It
feel
greets-
worse and worse.
It greets him and asks him about his day and stuff like that.
What started out as just like an idea in your head just makes you feel so pathetic. You're like, no, please don't make this real. I didn't actually want this. I just wanted to imagine
Like,
this.
and you know what? The great thing about it, Ray, for you, is that it's anime. It's anime styled hologram.
No.
Yeah.
Don't make this true, please.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you
was
can
a
customize
mistake.
that? Like
If you
like
could
Ray,
what?
you can have if you can customize what shows up. Like you can have all your Dota waifus show up.
Ray would never leave the house.
Well, I don't already, so I mean, it's not much of a change. The one thing I can say is at least I don't really do the waifu thing. Like the Dota
Good.
one's just jokes for when we play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just-
jokes
yeah.
when we're
Because
making.
if any of us seriously go into that, we might need to have a bit of
a
Intervention.
very serious intervention.
yeah. I'm gonna say there's gonna be some serious consequences there that need to be had.
I'm just gonna rip each one of you apart.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep jerking it to cars. I mean,
We're just gonna keep
Some-
fucking cars. Right in the muffler.
Dragon's fucking cars.
Only the best kind.
That was a weird subreddit.
You've been
Yeah.
on some weird places.
The internet's
Never
just
actually
weird.
clicked on that one. Just saw it referenced all the fucking time. Anyways, marriage.
Yeah. I mean,
Final
like,
frontier.
What? What about it though? Oh, with our friends?
Yeah. It's called
I-
getting back on topic, Dan.
No, I appreciate it. No, that's why. No, that's why I was just like, okay, what about it though? You just said the word. I'm like, what are we going?
I was trying to lead into something.
get it,
I'm waiting
I
for
get it.
someone else to
I appreciate
take this hook line.
I mean,
my understanding on it is though is that like for me and I think for anyone similar to me is that like I want to get to 100% before I even try to get into a relationship, because then if I can't, like if you're not 100% with yourself before you get into that, dear Lord, you're gonna drag that, you and that person are gonna drag something down, and in which case then
Dan doesn't want to be the anchor to this
No,
Titanic.
no, never. So I'm gonna be 100%, then I'm gonna get into it and then worry about it. But for right now, let anyone do what they want to do at their own pace.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys? How do you guys feel like about marriage? Because I know, especially with
I'm
with
against it.
our generation, there I find it more frequently where people aren't getting married;
Yeah.
they're just staying common law.
Well, divorce rate is just getting higher and higher too, isn't it?
I thought it was getting lower.
Actually,
I'm talking on my ass.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not. I'm not. 100%
I just
sure.
remember. I just distinctly remember always hearing about it going higher.
Well, yeah, was that like what 60%?
Jesus.
It was
I need-
ridiculously
pull it
high.
up, pull it up, Jamie.
I'm looking that up right now.
Well, yeah, because it's like I think it's gotten to the point where legally there's not a whole lot different between marriage and common law.
No, there really isn't.
No,
So it's like for legal and practical, financial, blah blah purposes, it's all pretty well. You don't need to get married.
Yeah.
And then I could definitely see, at least for our generation, where it's the whole like, I could spend 15 or 20 grand or more on a wedding, or we could actually like pay off debts.
Yeah.
And shit.
No, man. Courthouse wedding. Done and done. No one's
Well,
invited. Get out.
To find a girl like that.
Yeah. Canadian divorce statistics state that about 38% of all marriages right now in Canada.
In just Canada.
I mean, it's still way too high. 40%.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much almost half.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
bad.
like
Holy shit.
that's still pretty high in relative terms with sort of all relationships, but I think a lot of it has to deal with that initial like wedding ceremony, because like people spend up the fucking ass for that.
They like remortgage their house.
I mean,
That's retarded.
I know.
what is it? Our buddy getting married at the end of September there is spending 30 grand, I think he said.
30.
Jesus Christ. Like, don't invite me, man. Like, I'll just not go. Like,
Yeah, make it easy. on
like
yourself.
save a buck.
I mean,
I'll come to the party. Like, you don't
the-
have to feed me or anything.
I think the way he describes it is that it's mostly for
Chelsea.
for his wife.
Yeah.
So
Which that sucks.
Which is,
I mean, I get it, but
I mean, like damn, that's a lot of money for a single night.
well, to be fair though, too, that's also a lot of money that's split between two people who both have professions.
I think
think of what
actually
you could do with
I,
30 grand.
No,
I
I
still
know.
think he's footing a majority of it.
Oh no,
well, but that's just because of
because
different
he's had the career for
situations.
longer though, too.
Yeah.
Though.
But that's like not their specific situation, but just in general.
yeah,
Like,
no, that's a lot.
Like, and even just in general with weddings, 30 grand, that's not even close to the top.
yeah,
What
it's
people
like this
spend.
isn't getting you the Paradise Princess fucking shebang. This
Yeah.
is probably just a pretty regular.
Like he's having a ceremony at a church, and then he's having that party, the reception at the Crossmount there, and I think that's about it. But like 30 grand on like food, alcohol, I assume,
Like
decorations and everything.
my cousins went to a wedding where they had the wedding in, I think it was like Hawaii or something. So they had to like fly the entire wedding party down.
Oh my.
Destination weddings.
I hate those.
Yeah, fuck
Because
that.
then, like, you can't expect a lot of, like, you can't expect the average person to be like, oh, I can easily drop this amount of money to take this amount of time to just go on a vacation to this tropical
See,
place.
like
to see a wedding.
destination weddings, I think are a cool concept, but you gotta understand that not a lot of people are gonna show up.
Yeah.
And you have to also understand that they're not gonna bring wedding gifts. Them showing up at a destination wedding is their gift to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Isn't
of
that the
money
whole
to get.
point of like shit? The thing after the wedding when they go on
Honeymoon.
a trip, honeymoon. That's the whole point of the honeymoon, isn't it? It's just get a fucking vacation out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's weird to do a destination wedding, because it's like, well, why do we have? It's like,
It's a cool concept. Like getting married on the white sandy beaches of Cabo or something like that. You know that's pretty cool. Or being, if you have sort of like strong heritage ties to Italy or Germany or something like that, then yeah, I can understand that. Because if I was to get married, I would ideally have two weddings, one in
Hong
Canada,
Kong and
yeah.
one in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
because I mean most of my family is split up between North America and Hong Kong there, and I know a lot of the time my cousin got married last year in Seattle, and like half the family from not even half the family, I'd say like maybe like 25% of the family from Hong Kong was able to make it over, and it's family's a big deal for me, so I'd like to have as many family around me when big events like that happen. And I think if I have a wedding here in Canada, that's all for my friends and some of the family that want to show up, and then I'll have most of my family in Hong Kong that tend to like that one is more of a would be like for show.
yeah.
My cousin did the same thing. Like their main wedding was in Canada because they're from Calgary, but she married a Japanese man and for his grandparents because they were in I forget where.
Yeah,
But,
and I mean
it was like just like a small ceremony.
Yeah, and then especially if you have a lot of like older family overseas or something like that, getting on a plane, it can be a big hassle.
Shit, just getting on a plane for me is a big hassle. I don't like flying, so
We kicked ass at flying.
I was like
Unconscious.
unconscious for most of it.
It's the best way to fly.
I am luggage
the only
at
way to
this
fly.
point.
Okay, but what about flying specifically? Don't you like?
Everything.
It's literally you are achieving flight. You have become that which
I
is
have
better.
become bird.
You have become God.
No, it's
No, but
go a little
it's
far
the,
on that one.
the small seats, the cramped nature of it, the turbulence, just the whole everything about it.
Yeah.
Even just going into the airport, it's like, I don't like this already.
Yeah, it's not a great experience.
I remember last time I went, I actually was really happy because both the other passengers other than me got frisked, and they were in a room and like they had the gloves on. They didn't go colon shopping, but at the same time, like I just sat there and I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going through there, and like from the guy who got pulled over the 1 year because I had long hair and a tie-dye shirt, to now I've made it to all customs, no problems. I'm trustworthy. That's all. And then when they came up, they're like, "Isn't that BS? We got caught." I'm like, guys, you know what? It's the same thing I've been saying the whole time. I'm the guy that you do trust. You guys are the guys that are shady behind stuff.
I don't think I've ever been searched either.
Yeah.
Ray got randomly selected when we were in.
Did I?
Yeah.
Kevin did
for
too.
additional screening. It was just like they went through like your actual carry-on bag.
I think
it does make sense though, because he does seem like the kind of guy
Yeah.
who'd be a mule.
Holy shit, I don't remember that.
No, yeah, they pulled you aside. You had to go through the full body scanner,
Oh.
and then they also double checked your carry on.
Okay. Interesting. I just remember fucking.
Kevin got pulled over too and did the same thing.
I just remember going into. I think it was when we got to Auckland and we were like going through their side of things, and the guy's just like, "So where are you staying?" We're like, "It's Hostel.
'Cause Connor
Which one?
made-
I can't remember which hostel. He's okay. And transportation. Oh, we're renting a vehicle. Okay, through which company? It's kind of like a rent-a-car, like a Cars R Us. I don't fucking know. And he just looked at me like,
Like,
the fuck are
don't-
you doing?
Yeah. It's the same one I had.
I don't know, dude.
See, what is it? You guys all had brand new passports. I had the old one, didn't have the chip in it. So you guys just went through the kiosks. Like it took you like 10 minutes to go through customs. I had to wait like an extra like 45 minutes just because I had to stand in line to go through and get through customs. And like I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'm here with all my friends, and we're just having a short little vacation, 2 weeks. And he's like, so where are your friends? And I just point all the way down past customs, and you guys start waving back at me. And the guy's like, oh, okay, well, you're good to go.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that they weren't also degenerates.
Yeah.
See, not like me.
Jokes on them. We were.
They trusted me implicitly, but not my applesauce.
What?
I remember this in
no,
Costa
yeah.
Rica.
Travel.
In Costa
No.
Rica. Do you guys not remember this when we went through customs? Okay.
Sylvan was. You weren't
I
there.
didn't go.
Yeah,
thought
I
you
was
were
there.
for a second. I know.
I
Oh,
was there.
okay, fair enough. I thought you were. Why weren't you, you jerk?
Because I was
Anyway.
poor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See.
Things changed.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Not
actually,
really.
see, no, but it's actually reversed if you think about it, because my parents were decently well off, and now I'm poor, because that just
Yeah, it's
that's-
because they don't
that's
believe in
working.
handouts.
No, that's true. No, but long story short, so with the airport, I remember going through American Customs, and I can't remember if it was Miami or where we
It
were.
was Miami.
It was Miami, but we were dropping through, and I remember putting my bag through my carry-on, and as it went through, my mom packed me the applesauce, and in Saskatoon they put it in a specific bag to be like, hey, because she gave me at first like a 16 pack, and I'm like, Mom, that's a lot of applesauce, and Mom's like, Dan, you can have this much applesauce. I'm like, I don't think. Anyway, so we brought it in. They
It's
made
like
me
a
take
2 month supply.
They made me take out all but like 8 of them and put them in a bag.
One man can't eat this much.
It's not applesauce. I could, and I would.
According to Canadian rules, one person can eat.
No, but anyway, so I go through, and I remember dropping it in through the customs line, and I'm going through, and these two American guys are looking. One sitting at the X-ray machine, the other one's like passing things through, has the gloves, and like is kind of doing the little swab to check if there's any sort of drug residue. And remember, they go through, and my bag goes through the X-ray, and as my bag's going through, the one guy just goes like, hey, stop it! Like, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh dear Lord, what's going on? And then he just literally goes, he's like, Johnson, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? And like, he actually no, like he's saying this out loud. He's like, no, bring that shit back. No, what the hell is that?
And Dan's like, oh god.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, what? And he's like, whose bag? And then he's like, whose bag is this? And I'm like, I almost like just a split second. I'm like, should I just let it go? Should I just let it go? There's nothing.
I don't need all that clothes.
I don't need all those.
I want that
but it was
applesauce.
it was my carry-on, not my clothes.
Okay.
So anyway, and I'm sitting there like, do I even need it? And anyway, so I'm like, yeah. I'm like, raise my hand. He's like, come here. And he's like, and essentially, like, he goes and he looks at it, and he's really serious, like dead serious, like something's. I'm like, oh, and I'm so terrified. Like, I'm with the school group. I'm terrified. And he goes, he's like, what is this? What's in the bag? What is this? I'm like, it's applesauce. He's like, it's applesauce? And he goes and he opens up the bag and he like looks at it, looks at me, and then opens it up and it's applesauce. And he goes, Johnson, it's apple. Like, and then he just goes, okay, you're good to go.
Holy
and then like
shit.
and then like takes the thing, kind of like packs it back up after he's taken his finger in it. I'm like, I don't want that applesauce.
You can keep that one.
That
That
one.
one's yours, buddy.
But I just
You
remember-
earned it.
I just remember he was so intense about it. Ooh, it's applesauce. Oh,
I would just
man.
love.
He probably wanted to
yeah.
be a cop
My-
and didn't make it.
My closest
one chance.
experience to that is nowadays whenever I travel, I have like universal battery packs, like these guys right here, and I'll have all of my cables associated with it, sitting nearby. So I had like headphones, my USB-C cables and stuff like that, all wrapped around it. And it goes through and like, sir, is this your bag? I'm like, yeah. And it's like, what's with all the wires? I'm like, it's just charging and stuff like that. And he's like, it's they pulled it out. They pulled out my battery pack. It's like, okay, it's a battery pack. It kind of looked like it was wrapped around some C4 or something like that, just because of how thick and dense it was. And it's like, you don't have any explosives on you at all? I'm like, nope, no, I do not.
Not that I
No.
know.
Just
no.
his bomb dick.
Oh, we're gonna have to confiscate.
I'm getting searched on.
Yeah, yes, you are.
Sorry, all I could think of was when you told the security guard it's applesauce. He's like, one man can't eat this much
That
applesauce.
one man can't eat 6.
According to American regulations,
They-
like, no,
they-
Canada gave us more.
Canada gave us.
They said I could eat 8.
Canada gave us 8. I even ate 2 on the plane. Now there was 6 in there.
He just looks. He's like, you Canadian fat
Yeah,
fucks.
you got rid of my secret.
No
I
wonder.
had 5.
No
after
wonder
I
what's
left.
wrong with your country.
I had 5. I should have had 6.
Yeah.
Because he
I'm
stuck
gonna-
his finger
I'm
in one.
gonna bring that up.
You go back
The
to that Air
TSA
Force.
owes me 1 cup
Yeah.
of applesauce.
There's
Yeah.
a day he's sitting down there and fucking on the beach somewhere, and he's just like, I could have been eating applesauce right now. This is my moment.
Yeah, it could have been mine.
Yeah.
He took it. Took it away from me.
The only thing I remember from that trip was fucking
Albania.
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 Oh, that
You guys.
that was
and your weird
incredible.
ass
That was just incredible.
accents.
Yeah. No, essentially, I
Thing
just
that
remember it
occurred.
was we were all in like a little. It was a really cool like kind of village, and where we had like these little small kind of shacks, and like
Yeah, it was
we
like
had,
an individual cabin.
Yeah, individual
almost.
cabin, like little tiny ones. It was like about the size of like a living room with a little AC unit in it and like a little washroom. And everyone was staying in their own individual ones. I just remember we got there and it was late at night and everyone was kind of like, not delirious, but like it was hot. Everyone's pretty dehydrated and we're all just like finally getting to sit in the shade and we're finally relaxed. And yeah, I just remember we were sitting there and just going into weird accents. And then we just started randomly.
You guys were
randomly, just at one point, we went from going like talking in accents to just going Albania.
Well, it's like we created a whole fucking
What story?
story. But no, it's just the fact of me that it started just goofing around and turned into like at least an hour, if not hour and a half.
That's
Yeah.
how most of our nights
fucking gong
start
show.
and,
Yeah.
and end up. It's just us doing stupid shit, and it just continues on. I
Yeah.
mean, we go and have a couple of drinks, and we're like, we should go on a trip. All of a sudden, we're heading down to New Zealand like a month later.
Yeah,
And
because
once
that
again,
happens.
that was Matthew again. Matthew just says random things, and then the rest of us go, "Okay, let's do it." And Matt sits there and goes, "Oh shit, I
Yeah,
can't
like-
talk myself into another
Yeah.
trip."
Like this podcast. I mean, where is Matt?
Where is Matt?
Was
He's
it
the one
last-
who wanted to do. He actually had at a wedding.
Holy
but
shit.
yeah, he's the one who wanted to do all this. I'm like, sure, I can do it. I can get us all started up, settled out, and here we are. And I'm pretty sure he's missed most of these.
Yeah. I just joined, so I feel like I have no responsibility.
Same.
I like to take the least responsibility possible, then that way there's
And
no real
You
pressure.
guys are at this point are just personalities that I'm just vamping off of.
Well, yeah, well,
All
you know
just
what?
creations of my mind.
It's a mutual relation. It's a mutual gain then, really.
Yeah, until I find someone I think can replace you, and then I'll just replace you.
And then the masses of 2 people will be really upset.
Yeah. All our listeners out there.
All our listeners and the 4 or 5 members of my family who I forced to listen.
So all our listeners.
Yeah.
You just trap them in a room and just have it playing on. It's like you have to listen to
Yeah,
this.
no, I'm like, you have to listen to this now. I'm like, if you love me, you'll listen to it. That's how it goes.
So average. Below average. Below average.
Yeah,
I
well, I
aim
mean,
for
like,
average and
like
fail.
Dan, I'll thank you for doing that because that probably doubles or even triples the amount of listeners that we have.
I've got us a solid base of 5 views.
Actually, going from 0 to 1 is an infinite.
Yeah,
in-
we've
Yeah,
actually gone
that's
up. You're
true.
right. That's it. And then every time we get touched,
Exponential
that's like another
growth.
100% increase.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we've only ever done amazingly well compared to where we started. Because we started at 0.
Actually, I
And
think
we've
our first
gotten up to
video
5.
had about 15 to 20 views or so, and then it's been slowly declining from there.
Good, good.
Just like people's expectations of us.
I know.
Well, because then they would have gotten the first bit, what the hell is this? And then be like, oh no, this is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
nothing.
We're trash. We're absolute trash.
But that's okay though, because at the end of the day, it's true. It's an excuse just to hang out.
Yeah, that's all this ever started out as is just us getting together, drinking. I mean, Dan, you're drinking. I think the only time I ever see you drinking is here.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Like I no, that's not true. Every once in a while, like I do maybe like once a week, or if I'm doing like Dota or gaming or something like that, or if I'm here. That's the only 2 times.
I love drinking while gaming, but Dota, I'm way too focused in the game. I
Oh,
always
no,
forget to
I
actually
mean-
drink.
Yeah, me too. Oh no, that's why
We
Dota.
drink in between games.
Do it between games.
That's not enough, dude.
No, but like you can. You know the thing is, you also when you die, because that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's funny, Kate. I want to jump conversations here a little bit.
Go ahead.
So the one thing I've noticed, and I think it's always really funny, and it always breaks me out of any game. So you've had this, and you've had these intense moments where either it's a shooter or it's a thriller, or it's a horror or something, and you're tense, right?
Thriller.
And then for me, it's always like Call of Duty or something, and all of a sudden I'll be really tense, I'll be doing something, and then the second I die, I just go, and then I fart. Every single time. Because I've loosened up, right? Because I've died, and I go, oh, and I'm not tense anymore because I die. And then, like, it's scared. It startles me, and then I laugh, and it brings me out of the moment. Like, the one time in Monster Hunter, I just remember I was playing, and then it was really tense, and I just remember, like, I had the lance, and I was trying to do a jump, and the monster hit me, and I'm like, and it was about 5 seconds of just flatulence, because I was holding it in for about 10 minutes of boss fight.
I don't know what the hell
I
is.
was so tense.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with your
I
bowels.
was so tense. My body is a temple.
I wish I could relate on that
the
one.
the only
I
time
think you're on your own.
Yeah.
on
I
that
fucking
one.
wish I could.
I
Join
mean, the
that
only time
conversation.
that you know I play along with a death or something like that, I go whenever we die or whatever.
GTA.
It's GTA, and it's honestly whenever we're on Discord with each other. It's
Yeah.
about it. If I'm playing by myself, it's like, okay, that happened.
Oh no, honestly, even that's the thing. I get so viscerally involved in whatever character I'm playing. Not every game, but especially like Dota. If I'm even by myself, if I'm playing Dota and I die, I go, like, even if I die, I can't help it. It's just like I get into the character, and I don't know.
Definitely. Hand to the heart, chest falls out of his
Yeah.
chair.
That's probably the same reason I fart. Though. Like I get not like I get super tense, but like you do get tense and like you get kind of focused, especially if it's like a team fight or something. And I die, like then I'll go like, and then I'll fart. Usually one of the two.
We're playing Dota. Dan dies, and he's just over the mic to Sil, and it's like, Force, I don't want to die.
I don't
I want
want
to go home.
I want to go home, Force.
if I die, that is. But I'm just saying, like, no one else gets like that or like that.
I don't get
intense in the
that
game
intense.
like,
No, that's a
Like,
little too much.
The only time I get like
I fart on my
anywhere
own time.
anywhere near that is again on like when we're playing together on Discord, when it adds ambiance to us playing. Like
Yeah.
like when we were doing that one mission in GTA
Yeah.
when we're shooting in the hangar and like you just hear
Yeah.
or I'm quick to
Quick Dick
Oh,
Dan
quick Dick Dan, and then I turn the car. Okay,
immediately shotgunned in the
yeah.
face.
I have a bad time. I have a bad history with timing. That's been really well known. It's not my fault. That guy had a shotgun.
or like like whenever we play what is it murder or TTT, like when you die you just cut mid sentence
Yeah.
and you can't talk anymore.
Actually, I'll admit the one thing I do enjoy. Okay, well, I'm gonna tangent because no one else apparently feels my tensity. Which
No, not at all.
Well, because like this is
You're
why
just-
this
you're
is
just
what I'm
weird.
getting into because it stems from Mordhau too. Because like when I was playing, and for anyone else who doesn't know, Mordhau is essentially like it's a first-person like medieval combat game where you're swinging a sword and you're swinging it at someone else and you're just trying to kill the other people. It's like a medieval death match. And I'm playing, and then you can essentially during the game, like you get tense because it's like a 1v1, and you're blocking, you're parrying, and you're trying to outthink the other guy. And then eventually, right, you die, and then same thing. Like that's usually when I go Jesus, and I lose it, or I'll go like I'll myself make a noise. But the thing is, in the game, I constantly use the voice spam command. So in the game, as the character, you can use a chat spam where everyone in the game will just hear you yell or say whatever. And so I'm constantly doing it just because it's almost like instinct now. I just do it out of habit. And so every time my guy dies, he'll be halfway through a saying. He'll be like, "Have at them, boy!" And then and then my head will get cut off. And like that's the thing. I know it's like one of those things that just adds to it for me. That I was just find that like that's why every kind of game I just get. I don't know. I get so involved into like when my character dies, like in Dota. That's why I always make it because like I'm trying to get away so bad. I don't know. It's always something. It's always something that gets me. A lot of games I do that. Like I get like a little death sound.
It's whatever adds to your enjoyment out of the game. I mean, if you want to get a little more invested, then get a little more invested.
Also, I can never play women because I can't. Like weirdly enough, I can play an orc, but I can play an orc male, but I can't play females because I'm just like, well, I'm not a woman, so I can't. Or just I don't know. Or
How
just
are
like
you gonna catfish people, Dan?
well, no, but but in the same sense that like even if my guy is like weird, like even if my guy's like 6'2" and like gigantic, I can still say like, oh, there's aspects of himself that are similar-ish, right? You can take like hair, for example, right? Like that's pretty much the only thing you can ever get.
He's a bipedal humanoid.
He's a bipedal humanoid with 2 eyes and he has brown hair, approximately the same height as me, plus give or take 10 feet. Like right, like there's no problem with that. Actually, a lot of times it's usually the take. I love playing dwarves, but yeah, and I just think like it's fun to be like to at least take any kind of those characters and then develop them. Like even in like that's why too in Mordhau like that's if I was ever fighting, I feel like it'd be fun to yell at the guy that you're fighting at or insult them as you're fighting, and then immediately get your head cut off. Because at least it'd be funny for someone else.
Funny for the one guy who's watching your fight.
And he'd be like, ah, and then he'd get his head shut off, and then it'd be a chain reaction.
What a jackass.
Yeah.
I definitely do a lot of cursing at the game when I'm playing it.
Yeah.
I mean that's
just a staple for.
Yeah, that's
gaming.
just anybody cursing out.
Well, then you know what, the one thing then you have to also discuss, and I've noticed, and I was talking, I think, earlier about this. So have you guys experienced it too, where like I stopped, and I won't name names now, but I stopped playing with a friend because like every time we play together, essentially we would make each other toxic. Like in the sense that like we would get competitive to the point where anytime we played the game together, we would both get to the point where we were both equally as an asshole, but we would back each other up, going like, oh no, we're justified, and like I just thought to myself like, and coming back to it now, where I like to think that like I like to try to play games a little more relaxed. Like it's how would you guys then, or how do you deal with a teammate who's toxic, or who's someone who's
I mean there's been several times. I mean like when we're playing Siege on the console at first. After a while, I think me and Sylvan kind of were
were fed up with Matt and Connor because they would literally just kill our one teammate who wasn't in our friend group, just right off spawn. Like we'd spawn in and Matt would go like before he's even like picked a hero. Matt's saying like I can't trust this guy. So then we immediately spawn. Matt or Connor kills him. We finish out the round whether we win or lose, and then we spawn again. That guy immediately fires at the first person he sees because he just got thirsted like immediately. That's usually me or Jason, and then Connor and Matt kill him again. Then vote kick him. And then me and Jason are like, okay, well, we can't win when you guys do this, especially because like if he kills Matt or if he kills Connor, then it's just constant, like over and over and over again. Because then they felt justified, and it was just it got on my. I think that's the reason we stopped playing.
Yeah, that was the big reason that you and I stopped playing it. And I mean, you gotta like in any sort of like toxic, right? Just take a step back away from it. I mean, we understand that it's just a game, right? Yeah. Like take a couple of days off, figure out your own life, and then if you continue to do that, maybe it's just part of your personality, and there's other factors in it all. But like if someone else is flaming you, like I honestly don't engage, just leave. That's all I could say. Yeah. Yeah. Because like the moment you start feeding into those trolls, they swing at you harder. I mean, you do anything stupid on the internet and you tell the internet not to do it, well, they're gonna come back in hordes and hordes.
Yeah.
Just ask Beyonce.
Yeah.
Well, I think back to it and like, because I like without a doubt, like I even remember, especially when I used to play, like I play Dota now, but I started off in the same kind of way. But when I played League of Legends, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a online battle arena game where you just control one of 5 heroes and you try to go and destroy the enemy's base and they try to destroy yours. But long story short, I got to the point where I got so competitive in that game where I was such an asshole to a lot of people. Like if I didn't get a gank at the exact right time, I'd feed because I go, you don't deserve to win. And I would say, and I carried that for a decent amount of time into Dota. And that's not and it's funny though because without a doubt, the moment I stopped, or not even stopped, like I tried. Like there's still times I get competitive, but like in the moment, like where you stopped giving so much of a shit, then you finally actually start to enjoy the game a bit more. It's like I realized with League, I never really enjoyed it that much. I just wanted the rank so bad. It didn't matter about the game.
I mean, once you start losing the enjoyment out of the game, I don't know how people just continue to play, games like Dota or League or something like that when like they're not having fun. They're just grinding the crap out of it, and then if they're not getting their way, then they toss the game. Yeah. I don't understand people who play that way, because I mean like the point of playing a video game is that you enjoy it. Like if I understand if you're maybe like a streamer or something like that, you're making money off of views and stuff like that, so you kind of want to be on like a win and stuff like that. But like at that point, when it's affecting you like mentally, you gotta step back.
Yeah, that's the problem with like online creators like that. Like for example, say your audience wants you to play a game that that's the thing, like you don't want to play anymore, and your views plummet because you don't want to play it anymore, then you have to make a choice. Do I play a game that I'm not enjoying for the sake of views, or do I save my mental health and just lose money?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that's
think people who sort of make their living streaming and making online content, I think a lot of them are under that kind of stress to produce that kind of content. And a lot of them suffer with mental problems because of it.
Well, the one thing I actually noticed though too is on another end though, there are the streamers that use that to their advantage, the rage to their advantage, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just think to myself, like for example, the one guy, I even once in a while, I don't watch his streams, but I just watch clips of like a guy who plays League. His name Tyler One, and like his entire thing is that he at one point was literally banned from playing the game. There was like a big petition to get him back. He's like, I swear I've reformed. I've come back, and every account he made got banned immediately because he was so toxic that they forced to ban him. And finally, they got him to the point where he ended up rejoining the game, tried very hard, and actually did, when he still plays to this day, was invited into, like, the league, like, tournament championship, where he played against the actual same Riot employees who have originally banned him. He played against them in a game in, like, a big tournament stage. And anyway, but it's funny, but, like, even once you watch his streams, like, he still rages, and he still gets loud, and he gets aggressive, but he uses that to fuel his stream. Like, so even when he gets into a game when someone, like, there's games where people will troll him, and it works to his advantage because every time they troll him, he gets pissed, and people, that's what they sign in.
I think at that point, he understands himself even that it's a character now.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
no, 100%.
It's like Dr. Disrespect. Like,
Oh, yeah.
his whole personality, it's a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you knew that when he came back on after his
Infidelity.
Yeah.
I loved it, man.
I will admit
He's
though,
like at the end of the street, guys, I'm not going to be streaming for a while. I cheated on my wife, and I need time to fix the problem. And he just walks away from that, and everyone's going, "The fuck?"
And then for months,
He just
when
did-
he was playing PUBG,
people
would stream snipe him with names like Doctor cheats on his wife.
Dr. Disrespect my wife.
Yeah.
And I just remember it's like, Doctor, it's like, I just want to let you thank me for being who I am. He's like, I'm cheating on the wife with 4 different girls. She doesn't like it, but what can I say? I'm a 2-time champ. And there's just like those moments where I'm like, man, that sucks. That's the only thing that's also a risk though, right? When you stream is you put your whole life on it. But like for a guy like that, right? His image wasn't necessarily.
No, I mean,
him.
like, even with Dr. Disrespect, he was like, all right, someone just shot at my house
Yeah,
for the
literally
second time.
shot at the top floor of his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair though, his persona does necessarily. I'm not saying it. I'm never saying that it actually warrants someone ever come into his house. But during his things, he does say like none of you constantly, like his character does constantly say that like everyone's a bitch and they won't
He
come
makes fun
fight
of
him.
the
And he's
Chinese
like,
all the
you
time.
can't take me one. Like come meet me IRL and stuff. Like he does say that a lot. I'm not saying that ever warrants someone to come do a drive by. But if you are saying things like that to anyone, especially anyone who has mental issues and watches them like fervently, you could see that as being a legitimate like challenge to someone.
And even like the crimes of like swatting someone, doxing someone.
That
Like,
never made sense to me.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, like why?
Just because it's discourse, it's trolling at exactly what it is. It's
And like people have lost their lives because of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why I'm very happy that people who have been caught have literally gotten domestic terrorism charges. Like
Good.
spent 25.
Good.
Like and it was like
I think there's
it
like
was like an
you
18-year-old kid
yeah.
got sentenced to 25 years for domestic terrorism for swatting someone.
Yeah, I mean, like I just can't imagine that. Like you're having fun and playing on your computer, chatting with strangers on the internet. All of a sudden, you have armed men just knock down your door and screaming at you to get down on the ground, and it's like,
oh dear lord.
yeah,
Terrifying.
yeah. It's like just seeing those types of things just makes me cautious and afraid of how to interact with anybody at this point.
That's why I don't leave my house.
They didn't either.
Wait.
Ha.
Well, that's also the thing though too, is that with those streamers, the second they do find out your address, because at one point everyone will find out. They'll find out where you live. They'll find out your name, your number.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of the internet. It's going to happen. But I always just think that like it depends also, not always, but it does depend to what kind of crowd you're catering, right? Like if you're catering to I'm not like a certain, like especially a certain kind of demographic of guy, usually the streamer. I'm not saying they're not a lot of them cater to females, but I'm pretty sure majority of viewership is male. But I just think a lot of them that do stream to, like, I know the one guy, like, he is very much so the far, like, men go their own way. Like, women are the devil, like, they can't be trusted. Yeah, like,
Oh, the
kind of guy that's been jaded.
AW?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the incel, the kind of guy that's been jaded by women his whole life, so he views them as ultimate evil when really it's himself that could change and then adapt.
He's got
But
low
he won't
self-esteem.
accept. Anyway, long story short, but this guy, and like I remember there was a female streamer who was streaming and said something about him, like in just a negative thing about him, and they started some like bullshit kind of beef, and then like immediately afterwards, that's the kind of one that like she got like just waves and waves of like death threats and shit like that, and I'm like, well. Yeah, that's the kind of crowd that you're gathering. You're gathering a crowd and you're spitting venom into them. But it depends on who you follow. Like with Dr. Disrespect, I just think to myself, well, shit. Like, how can you can't control it though, right? Like, what can you do to control that other than like you can say, hey, don't do it, but you can't ever control what their actions are.
No,
so I think they tried to pull that against like a few other people on Twitter, be like, why aren't you controlling what your viewers are saying? It's like, well, I can't. They're not me. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and I mean, like a majority of the streamers are guys. There are those that are girls. Those I kind of I say kudos for them to put themselves out there and stuff like that. But like even with like the strange types of viewers out there, because like if any sort of your personal information gets out there, I mean, like you can have stalkers.
Oh yeah, a ton of them. Like you're always putting yourself out there, and there's a danger. And you're right. There's a danger, particularly with female streamers, based on the fact that like, and I was saying because I know that majority of stream, especially like Twitch, like game streams, predominantly are majority male viewership. I don't know what percentage of the female to male streamer is, but I know the viewership is predominantly male. And with that, based on the fact that these are men who are obviously really into games, not saying that there's a social stigma around guys in games, and like some guys can be awkward or less socially acceptable, but with that kind of crowd, and you're watching this one streamer day in, day out, eventually you will start to idolize them, right? And you'll go...
You get
and
that...
and like, if it's a guy, then you will idolize his skill, and you will still... Don't get me wrong, like the Dr. Disrespect, you guys that shoot up your house. But with the women, right, you get the other ones where it's like, yeah, they will get the stalker. They'll get the guy that follows them and like sends them like messages and asks them to do like lewd things. I don't know. It is a risk of streaming because you're putting yourself out there.
I think it's also has to deal a lot with sort of the fan interaction that viewers get. Like they watch you day in and day out whenever you're streaming, right? They sort of develop a personal relationship in their mind to you, right? They're chatting like, but all the streamer knows is just that handle online, right? I mean, there might be the odd case where they meet you at TwitchCon or something like that, or a meetup, and they, you get to put a face to an online handle. But I feel like a majority of the time it's more of a one-way relationship where like you as a viewer feel like you are friends with said streamer, but to the streamer you're just a name that pops up in chat.
Yeah. So there's that disconnect.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that like from one side it's such a personal connection, and from the other it's just completely like a mindless face.
Yeah, I mean that happens with any sort of celebrity, because I mean
that's exactly what I was gonna think. Was it's just like major celebrities where it's people idolize them and watch them in movies and see their interviews and blah blah blah, and it's like, I know everything about this person. They don't even know you fucking exist.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they get stalkers, they get death threats, they get paparazzi and all that bullshit. Of course, streamers will get it as bad, if not worse, because like you said, that connection that you can have over the internet becomes even more personal.
Yeah,
and it's more constant too.
Well, from like TV and movies, like there's really only like an hour and a half of content, or half an hour every week for 12, 15 weeks or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whereas with streaming, like a lot of streamers are like, their schedules are from like 8 a.m. until like 9 p.m. Where they're,
and it's 7 days a week.
They are there, and you can watch them constantly. Or
the thing about that too is like, again, with like movies and like TV and even music or something like that, they're not directly interacting with you, right? They've recorded this episode of House or Wheel of Fortune or something like that, right? And it's just playing. You can't really interact
a whole lot with the celebrity on your TV screen, whereas opposed to streaming, you say hi, they'll say hi back to you.
Yeah, like the bigger streams with like multiple people, like say like 10 to 15,000 viewers per stream, they can literally just like, if they have a question, literally just ask chat and chat will tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's like
How do I
it's a
do
built-in
this?
encyclopedia.
Pull the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Actually, it's almost surprising. Like, it's not surprising that things have gotten this bad. Because if celebrities from TVs and movies have gotten such obsession from the public, then of course it's going to be worse with
Well,
streamers
yeah.
because of what you said. So it's like it's almost to be expected that it's going to be.
Which is kind of sad.
It is sad. Yeah. Sorry, you're saying. No,
Okay.
Nothing. I got nothing.
All right.
Nothing.
Don't look at me, man. No, but I just think though, but with streaming and like, I think we originally started off from like toxic into streaming. But I just think that like, if your personality is something that you can sell, then yeah, you can sell it. But then you also have to take on the risk that people are going to react to your personality in a certain way. No, I'm not saying like you're responsible again.
I
Never
know,
saying
yeah.
you're responsible for anything that anyone does, but there is a risk associated with putting yourself out there and you're making yourself that well known. And same with celebrities, whether or not it's something that you want to live with, there always will be that 1% of the population that's unstable, that idolizes you or hates you or even is maybe mediocre, but gets an idea in their head and will go to any length to fulfill it because they know exactly everything about you because you put that much about yourself out there. Like, because I have no doubt no doubt in my mind that anyone who streams has gotten death threat, maybe not death threats, but has
felt threatened.
Has felt threatened. Yeah, you're right. That's a better way to put it. Has felt threatened at one point because that's just the nature of people is to go, to get obsessive and to get impulsive and to act out on those things. And it sucks. You're right. Like you said, it's unfortunate that it happens, but people get a little bit too attached to things.
People be fucked up.
People
yo.
be
Yeah.
fucked up, yo.
But we kind of knew that.
We kind of knew that to begin with.
I'm just kind of thinking on that. Sorry.
No,
it's-
go ahead.
I'm going really back and forth on the idea of, on one hand, I'm so in favor of personal responsibility, where it's just because you're out there talking about a subject or talking about a topic, if some listener hears that and goes, like, we'll do some stupid example where it's like, oh my god, I have a vendetta against pancakes. Fuck pancakes, pancake
I will kill you.
establishments.
I will fucking
I'm
murder
so
you.
in favor of pancakes, you have no idea. But vendetta against pancake restaurants are terrible, blah blah blah. And then some listener goes, yeah, he's totally right. Fuck pancakes.
Burn
oh
it
my
down.
god. And then he goes and burns down a pancake restaurant.
Yeah, burns down an IHOP.
And then it's like, all right, yes, it's his responsibility. He went and burned down an IHOP. Like, you committed the crime. You did the stupid thing. How much responsibility does go back to that person who's like, I'm just talking on a TV show.
I mean, yeah, he was talking on the TV show, but the fact that he said, "Let's go burn down," like
It's-
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. That's
on him.
instigating. That's instigating.
Yeah,
like
it's
if he
like
just
it's
goes
this
around,
fine line.
if he just goes around saying, "I hate pancakes. I hate pancakes. They're the worst. They're the worst breakfast
wrong with that.
foods in the
Yeah.
world." That's just merely expressing your opinion. But the moment he goes, burn down the pancake establishment. Then
Okay, but what if he
That's
didn't say
instigation.
specifically burn down the pancake establishment, but he goes, I hate pancakes, and if I got the chance, I would burn down a pancake place. It's not telling someone to do it. It's just saying,
that's
in
freedom of
my
speech.
opinion.
That's freedom of speech.
yeah.
But
it's
the
such
fact
a-
that he
that's
says-
such a
loophole.
tough one.
Yeah.
That is such a tough one.
Because
It's
I
like
mean,
it would almost be like if you're talking to someone saying, you know what, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say you're a dick. I'm not going to say it. I won't say it. Right? Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Oh, we're going Trump
I
now.
mean, like it's just like
People
with
say it.
with hate speech. I mean, you can express your opinions about what you like and what you don't like and that kind of stuff. But the moment it sort of gets aggressive and it sort of impedes on the well-being of others, then it becomes actual threats and hate speech.
Okay, on that one, I'm not 100%.
Because I mean, like you can be racist, right? There's
Wait, but that's the thing though. Is I'm just thinking, I don't know what the law is where it's like, if I said I hate purple people, I'm pulling on what's that comedian? He just does a whole bunch of one-liners.
Oh,
And
Jimmy Carr.
Nope, he's dead now.
Jimmy
It's
Carr's
like,
not.
I used to do drugs.
Oh,
I still do too.
Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg. I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. So Mitch Hedberg, where it's like, I hate purple people. If you go on radio waves and public talk shows, whatever, and you say I hate purple people, It's like, is that racism or is that just expressing a personal opinion?
That's still I would say
So it's not
racism, because I mean,
Because
like,
your personal opinion is racist, and if you express it, then it is racism.
but it's like,
it's
Your
it's
opinion
both.
wasn't inciting violence against a race.
That's
but
not hate
your
crime.
opinion was racist.
Yeah. So
Okay,
like, your
so-
opinion's racist, and if you voice that opinion, it's racism.
Just like,
because you're
well,
voicing.
you change purple to black
Yeah,
in that
well,
sentence,
that's
and
why.
it is immediately racist.
yeah. That's why I just chose a
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
but, like that's
the
distinction.
moment
scary
your statement sort of gets a bit more aggressive and sort of impedes on the safety of said color,
Yeah.
then that might be the basis of, like, hate crimes.
Yeah, like there's a
and
difference
hate
between
speech.
racism and hate speech.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was trying to get to, is what is that line where it just becomes,
once it
I hate
becomes-
purple people to we should lock up purple people.
Yeah, like
or something.
once it would impede someone of that race in any way, like if you hypothetically don't like whatever race, your opinion is racist, but like
but not legally
not yeah, like
cannot legally be challenged.
yeah.
No,
whereas
Can be socially challenged.
exactly,
Yeah. People will be like, you're a dick or you're
Yeah,
racist,
yeah.
but it's not illegal to say it. No.
But I feel like we've almost gotten to the point where a lot of people who are
Do want to say it's
are
illegal
just trying to express their racist opinions, and people are trying to shut them down. And it's like, well,
It is
I mean,
freedom of
technically
speech.
they're
Well,
allowed to
it's-
say
it's-
this.
freedom of speech
yeah.
laws, especially in America and Canada, it's
a
not,
little bit different.
Not written in like any constitution or anything, but in America, their freedom of speech laws are against or for the government. The government
Right.
cannot silence your opinion. The rest of us don't have to put up with your shit.
Yeah.
No,
So
and
we
then
don't have to give you a platform to say it on.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
don't have to put up with it. So that's why like a lot of people are like say something racist on Twitter, which violates their terms and services, so they ban that account, and then they're like, well, they're violating my freedom of speech. It's like, no,
no.
that's a privately owned company. They don't have to
Yeah.
put up with that.
Yeah, they can ban whoever the fuck they want.
Yeah, if you said it, it's like if you say it in the street, it's a different matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you say it on a platform that they can control, then yeah. And it's that same thing. Like if you say it in the street, you can't control whether or not someone punches you, right, or something. Well, not even that, but like if someone does do something, you can take the actions after that
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
then they have done something illegal. But the fact that you do say it, people can take that and go right into your face and start, mouthing you off, and that's their freedom of speech also. Because they opinionated, or their opinion of you is that you're a piece of shit, and they want to say it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel is like, spaces like Reddit, Twitter, Tumblr, and that they feel like those are public forums. They're not public forums. They're all privately owned companies.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's why your stuff can get like. For me, I remember like I got removed
Well,
from the one subreddit
yeah.
because I kept posting like meme or like things images, and like for one guy I kept posting like shirtless pictures of a very large man and referencing to another player and saying like, this is what it looked like when he came to get me today, and like stuff like, and I got banned from like, and that's the thing though, they can ban me from it because it's their platform and I am using their platform. So it's not a freedom of speech. It's their rules.
Yeah.
It's like walking in a casino and going, well, why can't I bring my own booze in here? It's like, well, because it's a casino. They own it.
This is our
This is
our business.
This is our business.
You
These
walked
are
in
our
here.
rules.
Yeah.
It's like,
What are you doing here?
When you're in your own house, yeah, you can drink, but you're not in your own house. Yeah,
It's just like, I can not wear clothes in my home. I have to wear clothes when I'm outside.
I still remember
in the
a news
public
article
space.
on that one.
But you don't have to wear clothes in front of your windows.
No,
No, you don't. No, you
or
don't.
you can stand in an open doorway as long as you are inside your home.
Yep.
Really?
You can. I'm pretty sure you
Because
can.
you are on your property, other people shouldn't be looking in.
You can be.
I'm gonna do that next time the cops come over. Come up naked and be like, what do you want?
No, they've dealt with a lot of naked people. They'll still question you whether,
Yeah,
whether you want them to or
Oh,
not.
I know.
It's
That
not
makes
gonna
sense.
say
I-
it.
what do you know the ruling on like backyard space?
I
That
don't
one I
know
think
exactly. That's a little more gray area.
Yeah, whether or not you're allowed to be like naked in your backyard.
Yeah, that.
I think it's like that expectation of privacy, where it's like if you had a whole bunch of big trees, you're like, maybe he has a reason to expect privacy.
Yeah, but if you have like a chain link fence,
yeah,
then-
if you have like a
But
see-through
if you
fence
have,
and that's
like
it.
like a high enough thick fence,
Yeah,
then they would be like, well, you reasonably have privacy.
yeah.
Whereas
So-
my backyard, I don't. Both my neighbors have decks that are quite high, and they can see
Oh,
directly
yeah.
over my fence.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so you might not be able to make that argument.
no,
Or
but like
good.
if you had like again privacy shrubs and trees. Up,
Yeah,
then,
that's what I was thinking. Those really tall trees, like all the way around your backyard. You can be like, I should be able to argue my way for this one.
okay. I just thought I'd ask that.
Legal. There's so many legal gray areas when it seems like there shouldn't be.
well, that's, I don't know it near, like, cause like
Oh god, it's
Like,
like fucking volumes
there's
upon
like
volumes.
lawyers have like specific things that they do. Like
Yeah,
there's criminal
family
defense
lawyers.
lawyers, family lawyers, divorce lawyers, like business law lawyers. Like there's so many different things, and just for like one person to try and
Be able
But
to
it just
encompass
sucks
it
when
all.
there's like one thing where you're like, this is the law, and you either do this or do that, and then someone comes by and like, well, I did this, and you're like, fuck, we didn't.
And
or
you know,
because
that's
of a Supreme Court case back in like in '79,
it
Yeah.
sets
which
precedent.
set precedent
Yeah.
that this is actually not true. And
Yes, you can ride your horse in town. Fuck.
Yeah, and then you know what? That's also why, like, you know, legal terms and documents are written in that specific manner where it will say with like 30 extra words in it about a specific clause. It's because they don't want to leave ambiguity behind it all.
Which is really tough to write too.
yeah, just trying to read
Okay.
the National Building Code Book of Canada, fuck, that pisses me off.
You're like, why can't you just say walls must be 3 feet high?
Or like-
not like
Like it's like, okay, I know what I'm looking for, and I find it, and then there's an asterisk next to it. I go to the bottom of the page, and it's like, unless it's in this circumstance, then go to this page, and I read that, and then there's an asterisk next to that, and I'm like, I want to fucking die.
At that point, it's like a choose your own adventure.
Pretty
book.
much. My finger, I didn't take it off the page. It's okay. I didn't die.
it's like your fence must be 8 feet tall, and you're like asterisk. Except on Tuesdays, your fence must be 9 feet tall. Asterisk. You can go, all right. Unless you're building in the desert, then it must be 10 feet tall. And you're like, it's fucking Tuesday. I'm not in a desert. I don't know anymore.
Yeah. I'm just gonna build it tomorrow.
We could turn this into a desert. If we try hard enough.
Yeah.
Like that's, I guess, the one thing though about it though too is that like like a slight tangent though, with about something being that descriptive, there is something that is nice though about having something be very descriptive. Not like that, not in the sense that it has like the only thing I have to say in relation is when I was in nursing, the question that they would always use is choose the best answer, which was always the worst. I hated those because every time there was 3 of them that would work,
Yeah.
but based on a slight twist of words could be
Yeah.
misconstrued. And I just remember sitting there and I'm like, God, I hate this. Why can't it just be one thing? Why can't it just be one thing is the right thing to do?
It was just the same thing when I was in school. It was the way that my teachers explained it. It wasn't the most correct answer.
Yeah.
Because like the other ones, like I found it in the building code book, like they are technically right, but because of this circumstance, that if you didn't read this part of the question, that was your cue to be like, where I found this one in the building code book, and then there was the asterisk that I didn't see,
Yeah.
and that's why I got it wrong. Even though I basically did all the work right, and I did my due diligence, I just didn't do enough because I'm stupid and I was impatient.
Yeah, and you've read through it quick because you want to get to the next question.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this, and once again, I know I tangent like a son of a gun. So remind me, am I getting? I don't want.
No, it's fine. I mean, at this point, we might just rename the podcast to Tangents or something like that.
But yeah, but like, I mean, just in like, but just going back to like school though, but like questions. I like tangent. I mean, going back to the original, but with like school and the idea that they ask very structured questions, they ask also the ones that like choose the best, which I do hate. The one thing I realize that is unfortunate more than anything is even in all those questions, as bad as they are for us, right? As bad as they are for someone who comes in whose English is not their first language, those questions are made 10,000 times harder.
God, yeah.
And I just remember
and
the
and,
one
like,
guy and
just the way English is set up is
exactly,
just gross.
and this is why I was this is why my tangent is connected. But this is what I had an idea of, because we had a guy in my last group that I did an online class for, who was very English second language without a doubt. Like I talked to him, he was very much so broken English, and I thought I'm like that must be tough, especially getting into the exam, because the exam for that course I was taking was 3/4 written. 1/4 was multiple choice, which meant that like if you needed to write fluently and understand the question entirely, you needed to have good English. And I remember coming into the exam, and I came in, and out of the exam, like you have 2.5 hours. He started an hour and a half before me. I came in, and he was just halfway through the multiple choice section, which meant that he had done over half of the exam time just to not even to finish 1/4 of it, right? So the math is adding up. He's not doing too well. And I'm like, damn, like I wonder how he's gonna do in the short answer. Like you could have guessed as much as that. So an hour in, and then they come up and say, you know, I'm sorry, sir, your time is up. You're gonna have to go. And he goes, I'm not done. Like I'm just on the first question. He was on the first written question on that exam, that final exam, which is worth about 35% of your mark. And so I just sat there. I'm like, you know what? That's the thing though. Like it can help for me at least, because I'll admit there's a few questions in there they were so very descriptively written, like explain this, define it, or define it, describe it, give an example of it, and like, you know what I mean? They those specific words that if you didn't know one of those words, you'd see the one keyword that you were looking at and just go, okay, I just got to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Right? And then I just thought, I'm like, that's a situation where those really where in nursing we had that problem too with a lot of students where it'd be the stupid things like yours where it's like, choose the best answer based on a lot of little key hints, and if you didn't know how to read those hints, they were done for.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden you skipped over the fact that, you know, they're allergic to penicillin or something like that. Then,
and like that's and it's just it sucks.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Like the journeyman who I was working with last year, like this was like shortly before I went for my final year. He was telling me about like his final year, and this would have been like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. He like studied like fucking crazy. Like he put in like more work than I put in my entire 4 years on his last year, and he still failed because he's a Ukrainian immigrant, and he got like a 67, and you need a 70 minimum to pass. So he like rewrote it like 4 months later after like studying like that for 4 months, and that's what it took to get his journeyman. And he's like 10 times the carpenter I could ever be.
Yeah,
like he's so much better than me, but because he couldn't like read, like he can read and write enough, but like asking him to do it quickly and asking him to like it took him so long to like learn like words that you don't use a whole lot, especially as a commercial carpenter. So like words like soffit you don't use a whole lot.
Yeah, stuff dealing with like residential or
stuff.
Whatever. Yeah,
like normally it's like grade beam this, grade beam that, pilaster this, but like those words were like, they don't mean anything in any other language. There's nothing to like tie them to, and that's what he struggled with, and it cost him like 4.5 months of journeyman rate.
It's just you know, the English language itself is fucked up.
Yep.
And the, you know, us
a lot of slang.
We have a lot of slang. We take words from other languages and butcher them, and you know, it's just an amalgamation of you know, words and letters and pronunciations that really make it difficult for you know, people coming into Canada, coming into the United States to try and learn.
Well, even then, like there's because my brother was telling me at his old place where he worked, there was an immigrant from Poland, but he spoke immaculate, fluent English. But he used words that we'd never used. Like when you say, it's like, hey, we're running low on this, he would say, we are lacking this. And like it's like where you kind of just like hear it and you go like, the fuck?
Is he talking like a role play or something?
Yeah, like
proper English.
Yeah, he spoke proper English, and it just sounds so bizarre to like our
ears.
Are like absolutely.
I mean, even us now talking, like we go down to, you know, Montreal, or we go down to, you know, Texas or Vancouver or something like that. A lot of the words we use, they you know, get confused about. I mean,
seriously?
like
Grid Road.
Yeah.
Bunny hug,
yeah.
Oh, well, Bunny Hug's like Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, no, but I get with dialects and all that, though. But with coming back to it, though, I do understand with these students, and I feel bad for them because it's that much harder for them to get along. But then on the other side of it, too, if you wanted to get a job in that field, in the place where you are studying, you have to understand that language will...
Exactly.
So it's almost like a double-edged where it's like, I understand that it's hard for you, but you also have to be an adult and understand that if you don't know the language, you are going to have to put in that much more work because you don't know the language. And if you don't want to put in that much more work, you unfortunately still have to put in the work to know the language.
Yeah, and you know what?
It's a bit of a double edge there where it's like, I understand that they struggle, but you also understand that they have to know what they're getting into.
I like the people who put in the effort to try and learn the language, and like you go over to Japan.
Loved
right?
it there.
Yeah.
Everyone knew people knew
You
more,
as long
like,
as
at
as
least a
long as
little
you
bit
try to
English.
speak some Japanese to them, and they understand that you're trying your best, right? They'll try and speak some English to you just to try and make sure that you're clear on things.
Yeah.
I would say on that one, kind of agreeing with your point, is it really depends on the situation where it's like, all right, when I'm trying to sell chips and I can barely talk to the store owner, it's not a big deal. I'm like, you want chips? And they're, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I could get real intense and be like, do you want spicy ranch or do you want Dutch Crunch? And we have a special going on. It's at this discounted price, but you have to sell them at this sale price. They don't understand fuck all that I just said. But I say, I fill shelf. Good. All right, sweet. We fucking limbered our way through that one.
Yeah. Like you find some common ground where you can
Yeah.
at least gesture or something.
Yeah, but when it comes to nursing, if I come into a hospital, I want to speak English to that person and know that the nurse actually knows what the fuck I'm saying. Because if I say to them, I'm currently taking penicillin at a 300 megagram dose. Yeah, I have no clue.
Doesn't matter.
But anyways,
Doesn't matter.
300
Megagram.
megagram dose at a twice daily subscription.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. These are some weird ass
It
terms.
doesn't matter.
But yeah,
It doesn't matter.
through a language.
It doesn't matter. I
The
know
nurse
what
looks at you
mean.
and goes, yes, I understand. I will note that down for the doctor so that when we prescribe our next prescription,
We won't
it won't
interact with something and cause your heart to fail.
Yeah, but if they look at me and
Yeah.
go, oh, yes, okay, you take? And I'm just like, oh, Lord, I'm going to die.
Well, but I know what you mean.
I'm feeling better.
Yeah, I'm going to go to another.
Well, the one thing that is actually, and it's funny though, with when you say that, we have one nurse, and once again, I'm not going to mention names just because, and especially
Never
with
mention
hospital.
names.
No, well, the hospital is confidentiality.
Oh,
too.
God, yes.
And not necessarily, well, patients mainly, but still, we have a nurse where she's from Hong Kong, and she's a PhD level in Hong Kong, she's a doctorate, and she came over to Canada, and it did not translate, or it doesn't. I'm not sure if it.
Oh, the
ties
education
over.
level.
Yeah, the education level doesn't tie over. So she's, I'm not sure if she came in at like a nursing level, but she works as a nurse. And the thing is that just like you said, she struggles a lot with people, and people struggle with her, and it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate for her because she is very smart. She's even more gifted than a lot of the nurses we have. But based on the fact of her limited English, people do look at her and go like, I want not like I want a different nurse, but there has been a few people be like, is there any chance I could like change? Because like they don't really understand her when they talk to her, and she's gotten a lot better now. Like she's worked there for a while, but when she comes in, like certain people, like they won't understand what she says, and then like they'll ask other nurses to come in and be like, hey, what's going on? And she's gotten a lot better now, and she's learned she's a lot more fluent with it now than she was when she started. So it's much less of a problem. But with that, she took the effort, like she did, because she understood where the error was. It wasn't her knowledge base. She was a genius. It's just the fact that these people didn't understand her, and their first image of her was, oh, she's a woman who doesn't speak English, and she doesn't understand what medicine is, regardless of whether or not she did. And you're right. And the issue is that we've had it, though, with girls where in nursing, we had a girl, and nursing, to understand anyone who doesn't know, like nursing, a very basic skill in nursing is to understand how to do vitals, and how to do pulse, how to do temperature, how to do respiratory rate, like anything with a blood pressure with a patient. And it's a lot of basic things that are very easy to do. Just take a thermometer, take a BP cuff, and and you learn that in first year, and you have it mastered by first year. Second year, you're trying it on people, and that's when you really kind of get your rhythm down and you understand what works best. Third year, you're at the point where you are critically analyzing patients. You are handling more than one patient. You are giving meds to more than one patient. You are assessing more than one patient, and you are making care plans for more than one patient every day. So that's how you're supposed to work in the workload. This girl in third year didn't know how to do vitals. So the issue is that she, because of the way teachers sometimes are, unfortunately, they get a bit lazy, and they don't want to hurt someone's feelings. They want to mercy pass them, which in some institutions, I'm not saying a lot of them, it still isn't. Though there's some that you can at least kind of get some leeway and they can learn it on the job. Not with nursing. Nursing, you can kill someone if you give the wrong med, like you said, and even if it doesn't matter, penicillin, whatever you want to use. If you're on a medication that you're on at home and it has an adverse reaction to another drug that we're giving, and she doesn't understand that or can't read the drug well enough, then she could kill someone. And that's a serious risk. And I just remember with this girl, third year, not knowing how to do vitals, I'm like, and even at the time, like when I started struggling as a student, I'm like, you know what? I might be struggling, but that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable because you can get on the job and maybe, for example, maybe you go to McDonald's, you don't pay attention to the training video, and you can go wrong, and you can maybe learn some on the job. You burn some fries, it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? You do some things, or maybe you start working at a company and you botch a report or something. It's not the end of the world. You're not killing someone,
not a
but
huge
you can kill
deal.
someone. So I just think about that, like with med and anything like that. I'm like, if you don't know the language, unfortunately, I do look at them in a bad light because I go, you're taking people's lives at risk because I know you want a future and this is your dream, but you have to understand that people are at risk and you are responsible for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to take responsibility on that one.
And in that same spirit, like if you went to say you went to live in Germany for 10 years, I would expect you to learn German.
Right.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because what else am I? Yeah, exactly. Because it's first just not even disrespectful to people there, but if I want to manage on a day-to-day basis, how can't I?
You have to
You can't
speak.
expect everyone to know your language. You have to understand that if you're living in a place that's predominantly one language, you need to learn it.
And on that note, it's like, okay, I'll go to Germany and like, yes, obviously start studying German and learning the language and blah, blah, blah. But it's like for the first 3 months,
You're going to be crap.
Oh yeah, like my goal is survival for the first 3 months. I'm trying to
that's
fucking
fine.
shop
That's fine.
and go to the bathroom. It's not I'm showing up and I'm like, I have a degree in business from Canada. I'm going to be a manager of a company in Germany. Not if you can't speak the language, buddy.
No.
I don't know what the fuck's
No.
going on. I can't run a business when I'm over there. Like, and you can't expect that when you go over.
Which
But-
is exactly like now, if you try to even anyone like any one of us, like especially for me, like I was never even looking into it, but I understand because my brother was at one point. Like if you want to go, for example, into Quebec, you wanted to go to Montreal, and he realized even though he had all the credentials, his school, like he had grades better than the ones they needed, he had a degree, and he had accolades better than the ones they needed.
He doesn't
and yet
speak French.
He doesn't speak French, and whether as unfair as you think that is. You know what? I think that's fair. That is their predominant language. And yeah, they do speak English, but it's not expected that they need to speak English too. It's expected that you will speak the language they do.
Yeah, and I mean, there's certain places closer to the border to Ontario where, it's a 50-50 crapshoot.
You're right. You're right. But it's not. If it says required, that's what's required.
And I hate it. It does almost sound like we're the whole crew where it's don't come to my country and blah blah.
Yeah,
It's we're not trying to be down on anybody. It's just there's got to be some realism.
I mean,
involved.
like we're all the more welcoming to whoever wants to come here, just as long as you're prepared to be part
of Canada.
Yeah.
And not to say that if you don't speak the language, you're not part. Like if you want to own your own business, or you want to work somewhere that doesn't require you to speak the language, then fine. Then more
Man,
power.
if you can
to
make
you.
it work.
See, like with us talking about like nursing is a very extreme. Like
Then
where
that's
Yeah,
why.
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
why
there's a
he's-
necessity that you speak fluent.
English, but I mean, like
English.
someone working at the McDonald's counter,
Exactly.
someone
That's why I'm like, you don't need
someone
to.
cleaning homes or something like
Well, that's
that.
why I brought up my chip story, where it's like, yeah, I can sell you chips and then we'll make this work.
Yeah.
Or
we can
construction.
do
Yeah,
it.
There's groups of
Yeah.
like I think even on my last job site we had a dozen people from Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
And a couple of them didn't speak English even at all.
Yeah. So you just kind of gesture over there. You're like, fucking 2x4.
Yeah,
and they're
basically it's
"Oh, yeah."
okay, yeah, we'll just pair them with one of the other
yeah.
Ukrainian guys who speaks English, and and if there's a language barrier, they can
Translate.
figure
as
it
as
out.
long as you're willing and doing to learn the language, sure.
No, exactly, and just like you said, yeah, you don't want to paint the picture that you're just saying, no, you can't come here and you can't join, or no, without a doubt you can, but understand that when you're getting into something, you need to look at what is required, and really need to go and say, do I meet the requirements?
And it's funny. It's like, honestly, in Canada, it's not like even huge requirements. It's like,
No.
you want to show up here, whatever religion you want to follow,
Whatever.
do it. Whatever traditions you follow, do it. Whatever culture things going on, as long as it's not illegal or anything, go for it.
Yeah,
But I
And you
guess
don't
one
even
small thing is, could you speak a little English?
yeah. Try. It was like
Or try.
And unfortunately, just and also based on our culture, like I know francophone is I think I know it's our secondary popular dialect, but actually, is it now based on population?
probably not.
Probably not.
Wait,
no, I
like
think-
population wise, no,
Like,
but
no,
legally it's required.
legally, I know it's
we are
I
two
know
official
legally
languages.
it is, but I know population it can't be anymore.
No,
But
I'm
we're
pretty
not-
sure it's like
What, Quebec.
Cantonese or
Maybe.
Mandarin now.
yeah, probably.
Oh, they
Mandarin
might
or
have taken
Hindi.
over.
Hindi?
Yeah,
Oh.
Hindi would be a big one too.
Oh, yeah, no
There's a
kidding.
lot of Indian people. Like if you go to BC. There's a lot of people from India and a lot of people from China.
A lot of people here, Indians buying small grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah.
I see a lot of them.
Well, you know what? It reminds me of too. And we were in we all went to the same. With the exception of Jason, we went to the same high school, and we had one teacher. And you guys remember he was a teacher's aide for math, and he was from. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he's from. What was it? Not I think Serbia. I think he's Serbian, if I'm not mistaken.
See, that's the thing. You were in the English side, and me and Ray were on the French
I keep
side.
forgetting that.
I was
Regardless,
thinking, I was like, man, we
sorry,
only had
regardless.
one
Yeah,
teacher.
like those
in
teachers
math,
had
we
to
had
speak
yeah.
English.
I keep forgetting. My bad.
Teaching
But-
French.
Hey, well, case in point, he had to speak French to be on the French immersion side. But he was
God, I
from.
wish they
He was
didn't,
from.
but-
The thing is, though, he was actually he was a PhD level professor, math professor in
Damn.
Serbia.
Wow.
And he came over, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, the credits didn't be, or not the credits, but the I guess
The degree.
the degree
didn't-
itself did not transfer over.
Yeah.
And so he was able to be the teacher's assistant. And the thing is, he knew, and it was the one thing that it is unfortunate is that bitterness. You're like, you know what, and he knows, and everyone else knows. He knows 10 times more than a teacher does. Easily, he would teach the teacher, and they would have maybe a percentage chance of passing his course.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's sitting there, and the entire time, and like he did. And the thing is too, though, he took the time at least to learn English, and I do hope that eventually he went back and it was able to go up, because like he's a brilliant man, and knew everything, and anyone who had a problem would ignore the teacher, go right to him. Everyone right to him, because he spoke decent English. Like, it was a bit broken, but it was still decent. Like,
I mean,
and,
especially in math, you can get a
Yeah.
point across
Well,
in math.
and
Math is numbers.
math is number, and he would just point it out, and he'd be like, do it like this, like this, like this, like this, and that's. At one point, like, not as a joke, but you know when he's helping someone, because he'd literally go over them and you just hear him go like this, like this, like this, like this, and like that's what he do, and be like this. Oh, this over this, and like that's how he always talked, but it worked, and everyone understood him. And so I just thought, I'm like, that's also a moment where it is unfortunate, just because he doesn't know it. He's at that level, but yeah, so it's unfortunate. And regardless of what happens, if you move into a new environment, you're gonna have
there's
to
gonna be
like
problems.
acclimate to some extent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which like since we have learned a second language, even if like it's way easier when you're a kid, like to learn a second language.
Yes.
Trying to learn another language would be like insanely hard right now. So like at least we have like an inkling of knowledge of like it's a very difficult thing. And like French, as long as you can like kind of figure out your conjugations, isn't that hard of a language to learn. It's fairly straightforward. It's there's not really anything in a twist like there is with like English or like Mandarin has a lot of words that are very very similar in pronunciation that mean very different things.
Oh, that's the worst.
So like that one would be a very difficult one to learn. Japanese has 3 different types of written language. So like
Good luck on that one.
yeah, so like,
Yeah.
And that
imagine
one's-
trying to learn one of those 3 languages like and English is up there.
Yeah. Well, again, with that one, like you said, where it's just like, oh, this word can mean this, or said slightly different means this, or even not even like said slightly different, just in a different context means a completely different thing. And you're like, are you fucking serious? Can't you just have another word?
Yeah.
We have billions of words. We make them up every day. Make a new one up.
I mean, shit, we just put letters together. Then we need.
Well, we stole from everyone else. That's what English did. Just went, no, I like that. I like a bit of that.
Yeah.
I like a bit
I'm
of
gonna-
that.
I'm gonna
We're gonna
spice
take
up with
some
this.
Of this. Take some of this. Take some of this.
But then with like new stuff where it's like, especially technology, where it's like, say USB, or if we create a new Blu-ray or some
GIF.
technology, and then it's funny when other languages start taking from us, where they're speaking their language and blah 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 USB blah blah blah. And you're just
Yeah,
like,
and you're
wait,
like,
what?
wait,
the-
USB?
Like
Hang
listening
on.
to a conversation in Japanese and they like Japanese, one English word,
Yeah.
then the rest is Japanese.
You're like, what? Hang on.
Wait, what's that?
I understood that.
And then all
Got
the,
it.
Or like, yeah, just smiley. Smiley what?
Smiley.
Yeah, no.
Got it. I was just thinking how it's funny when you learn, like we learned math in French, and then I think there was one time we were somehow in an English math class, and they're like,
It's because French math ended in grade 10, and then
did it?
yeah, and
What?
then in grade 11 is when we had is when we started English math.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
Holy
you-
shit, I don't remember that at
You've
all.
spoken this
that was
about
the
this
first
before.
time I was in a
And
class.
you,
with,
we talked about it last time too.
yeah, it was one of the first
Remember,
times
because I
was in
said,
class
do
with
you
Dan.
ever resent? I remember back in one of our previous.
We didn't talk about the math part.
No,
you
you
did.
have,
No,
you
you
have.
did.
Yeah,
You
we
did
did.
because I asked you both. I said, did you ever resent, or do you ever feel like your French, like your dual language, like your dual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about how
Regret.
we learned it in French, and then immediately when we got sent to the English classes.
Oh, you're fucking lost.
Yeah, and you were saying how it was a detriment because like it was really unfortunate because when I went into math, I didn't understand what any of the phrases were.
Yeah, you had to relearn all the English
phrases.
phrase. Like you
Yeah.
you knew them in French, so like
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
test you would know what you're doing, but if you got called up to the board,
Yeah. Do the
yeah,
hypotenuse or something. You're like, could you say that in French?
could you give,
Okay.
can I read the question?
Oh, that's funny. I don't remember that part. I just remember how it's like if I did like history, we did 4 years of French. It was always in
Yeah, it was
French. So
always
it's like I could think of if I did history in English, I'm certain, absolutely certain, my grade would be like at least 10 points higher.
That's fair.
Because
Well, yeah.
you're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on
Hey,
just to
you're the
begin
guy
with.
who wasn't paying attention in class, and then it pulled a year out of his ass and got the answer right.
And oh man, I have to apologize on that one. I always kept doing the like, oh, I bombed that test, but it's honest to God, I
Yeah.
finished the test and I felt like, man, I did shitty on
And
that.
then
Like
Ray comes back, it's like, oh, he's got a high 70, low 80.
yeah,
And
like a
then
low
there's
80s.
Sylvan's like we're both like, yeah, man, I bombed that test. And I
Yeah.
get my test back, yeah, 57, man. Told you I bombed it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't bomb it
Oh.
that hard, but it always felt like
Yeah.
a bomb.
I was the worst person and one of our friends, and I don't know if maybe he'll ever be on here, but long story short, and I don't want to I don't want to name names because you never know. But for long story short, me and him are in calculus together, and like I'm not very much. I was never really gifted in a lot of subjects. I was okay at math because I could at least I like to work on things that made sense to me. If there's a formula, I like to do it a lot of times. I'm weird like that. I like to do repetitive things. I don't know, some OCD. But long story short, I like it. And so I remember I was in it, and I thought to myself, like, I'm pretty okay. Like I was on a roll, and I was proud of that. Like I was like at least in 80s, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing good because coming from like elementary school where I was failing completely, and eventually no word of lie, up until I think grade 5 I was getting failing marks, and I went to Sylvan Learning Center for 2 years, and they figured out my problem was I skimmed. When I read questions, I would skim them. I wouldn't read the whole question, and I would pick parts out of it, like name or choose what is not. Like I would miss the not part, so I would choose. You know what I mean? And like I would do that, and even said because I was very convinced, like, oh, I'm just dumb. You know, that's fine. But I just remember
I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with this, but I just remember like with learning and with class, I just thought it's tough to do. Like, oh, I'm losing my train of thought now. Hold on, we gotta go back a little bit. Yeah, just because the second I mentioned Sylvan Learning
You were
Center,
skimming.
yes, no, I was skimming.
Learn how to learn.
Yeah, so I was skimming questions, and then okay, no, but before that, I losing my train of
Math
thought.
class, you were in the honors roll.
Yeah,
you're proud
sorry.
of that.
Anyway, thank
Killing
you.
it.
No, I appreciate it. Well, that's why I shouldn't have mentioned Sylvan, because every time I mention that, like, I go on a tangent, because it
And
means
then
a
he
lot.
starts to think about me, and most of the time
I
it's
do.
not
Then,
really
he's,
pretty.
then
It's
it's
a
Sylvan's
lot-
shirtless.
it's very
and then it's the
sexual.
Sylvan's Learning
Okay,
Center
and
shirtless.
I know it's not pronounced. It's not pronounced Sylvan, is it? Right? It's Sylvain or Sylvan.
Not Sylvan.
Sylvan, is it? Okay, thank
Are you
goodness.
talking your name?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
because I know it's Sylvan.
God,
I
I've
know
been
it's
calling you
Sylvan.
Sylvan for
It is
years.
called Sylvan Learning Center. Is what it's called. But with that, so
Is
I
it
remember
spelled
from
the
that.
same way?
But from that moment on, and
it's
I
not
know
spelled the
tangent, but from that moment on, I was decent at math, and I had decent math grades. And I remember we got to calculus, and this one friend would always do his exam, and like he was quiet about it, but like he's a smart enough guy, and he's good enough at math, and he'd always get something like 97, 96, 98, really good marks, right? And I purposely, because and like even to a part of me, I like to mess with them. So as me, I would go, hey, I'll call him Steven for now. I'll call him Steven. Now, Steven for now, I'll look over and go, hey Steven, hey, what'd you get? Hey, what'd you get? And what'd you get? And every time he knew what was gonna happen, he goes, no, I'm not telling you, Dan. I'm not telling. No, shut up, Dan. I'm not telling you. I'm like, Steven, what'd you get? What'd you get? And then like I'd ask whatever's next to him, and be like, what'd you get? What'd you get? Right? And then eventually they'd tell me, oh, he got 96. Like, oh my God, Steven, you're so good. I just like saying about, oh, look at you got 98. Oh, you did so bad. Right? And I do that, and then the entire time you just sit there and like look down and just go, I hate you, Dan. I hate you so much, Dan. I just remember sitting there, and I'm like, that was a moment though where it was fun to at least like make fun of him, but like there was also, ironically, the girl right next to him did that for real. She was the one they would say, like Ray, go, oh, I bombed it. Oh, I did so shitty. And every time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know you're fishing for compliments. I know what you're doing. Because she'd come back, the same mark as Steven, but Steven wouldn't say shit because he would never say it. Like, he'd be happy, but he wouldn't say anything. I just bugged him. She would genuinely be like, oh, I bombed, and get it back. Be like, oh, well, I guess I didn't do as bad as I thought.
Oh,
and like look around, like be like this, and, like look.
Hoping
act
for
around,
it.
and I'm like,
Those
"What's wrong
people,
with you?"
I don't
Ray.
like.
Dude, in my defense, I was not fishing for compliments. I honestly God thought I bombed it.
And it, like there are other people who will go and fight tooth and nail for an extra percent.
Extra percent.
All right, like those guys, those guys, I'm okay with them doing that kind of stuff because they have sort of goals in mind and they have fixed.
And they're willing to put in the work.
That they want to achieve, and if it means arguing for an extra percent, like they feel like they need or deserve that, and I'm like, cool, you fight for whatever the hell you believe in, right? I'm sitting here going, I thought I did pretty bad there, and it comes back like an 80 or something. I'm like, okay, I guess I didn't do too bad.
Nice.
Turns out I'm the one who actually does bad in school.
Well, you see, because of my skin
But
color.
you're the only one with an actual profession.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're the only one with a house.
I was gonna say you're the hey.
Look who won.
Look who. Hey, hold on. Let Silver Spoon Sil.
Oh,
here.
Sil. Life is so
Where was that ladle, Sil?
well, you see, it's all down to hard work. Something that a lot of you could learn.
Oh no! Here it comes.
I mean, I can't talk on that one. I haven't worked hard ever, so.
But you know what though? To be fair, like, yeah, I just say it's like fun. It's like, oh, you guys got all the great marks. Yeah, fuck you,
Dude,
Mr.
oh man, the one
401k.
time I beat the smart kid in a test. Oh,
Feels good though, doesn't
fuck, that was
when
the
you can
highlight of
when
my high
you can
school career.
rub their nose in it.
I didn't rub it. I was just like, wait, I beat that guy? And he was like, oh, I guess you did. Holy shit! Yeah, fucking victory laps around the school.
Like such an awesome, like cool dude that like.
Oh, I
even though
wouldn't
you
want
beat him,
it.
it was never like I never rub your there was no that
God, no.
wasn't it?
Or yeah, and that'd be the stupidest shit. It's like, oh, I beat you in the one test. You're like, okay, how about the rest of the 4 years of high school where I demolished your ass?
We don't
talk
talk
about
about
that.
that.
We don't talk about that. That
This
never
is my high point.
This is
is
my
not
high
yours.
point.
This is my one time.
But like, but you know what the thing though is about that, and like just in the vein of that though, watching others around you succeed or watching like others do better than you, there is that. Like I remember as a kid, like I did develop that sense early, and there's that competitiveness in you where like for me, what I would do is if someone, say for example, we were doing a test, and like it was almost like a way to like ego to defend yourself. And it was almost like whenever someone took a test, and for example, not necessarily in the calculus class of Stephen, I just like to bug him. But like there were a few classes with people where I would compete and I would want to get a better mark, and just because like it was something I'm like I want to make sure that I'm smart, like I'm smart, I'm worthwhile kind of thing. And if they beat me, my mind essentially my mind would go in a way, okay, they may beat me in that, but I got this on them. I got this on them, and like it would almost
Always have your backup.
and like right, and I realized it's not a healthy way to think though,
No.
because
Oh,
all of
no.
a sudden, no, it isn't. But when I was young though, it was just it was the nature of like elementary school and like how kids are. Let's be realistic, harsh as all hell. You find things that you're good at and you hold on to them like death. And if anyone is better than you, you will find something, anything to be able to hold it. And I just remember it was always the sense of like, even one guy I remember was so proud about his karate class. And I remember I got so upset. I'm like, oh, who gives a shit? You got like yellow belt. Good for you. I don't do karate. I don't know. I can't see my belt buckle. Right? Like, stuff like that. Like, and like, right? So I turned.
I could be yellow. I don't even know.
I didn't even know.
Could be yellow.
Anyway, but you get pissed. But I remember I got pissed about it, and I sat there. I'm like, you know what? Who cares if we get in a fight? Because he may have a yellow belt, but I got 4 friends, and 4 of us versus 1 of him. We'll beat the shit out of him. And right, like that was my mind's way of almost defending myself and going, oh, it's no big deal. So like when it comes to school, like I think that for me early on, like especially in school, like I had that. It was based off of just like an inequity. I think in elementary school that I had that idea that if I wasn't like if you ain't first, you're last. Like I didn't have to be the best, but if someone beat me, it would unsettle me.
You
like
would have
someone
to
close to me,
yeah.
if they were better than me at something, it would unsettle me, and it was a terrible mindset. To
Yeah,
have.
and then the only way you can find your equal value and par was
Yeah.
to either bring them down to your level or find something that boosts you.
Yeah,
up to
exactly.
theirs.
And it's super unhealthy because you're never happy because you're just
Oh
sitting there
no,
going,
no,
"Fuck."
because that if that continues on into later in life, all of a sudden you're sitting here. Sylvan owns a house. Well, you don't own a house. You're
No,
gonna feel
fuck
like shit.
Sylvan.
No, exactly. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like distinctly thinking to
yeah,
myself, well,
yeah.
due to mental instability and just time on my hands, there's a lot of things I could do to
Yeah.
Try me, I'll put you in the fucking ground.
No, I'd never do that.
Or
Also,
it's
you know,
like-
but
He's got 4 friends, though.
No, but with that mindset,
Wait, I'm one of those friends.
There's also like I've come with the understanding.
Do it,
that, like,
Sylvan. Wait.
Yeah, do it, Sylvan. But I've come to the understanding though too with that is that don't get me wrong, and I have really learned to grow on this, and like even for myself, especially considering that like I was in nursing up to 3rd year and I dropped out just because mainly it was mental illness, but is that just mixed with it wasn't the profession for me, and like you do look at that originally and you look at your other peers and you go shit like they're accomplishing things you didn't, but then you also get to the mindset you're like, well, you know what, everything in time. Everyone has a different road. You'll get there at a different time.
Exactly. I mean, like, you know, you start comparing yourself to your friends or whatever. Like, some of them are getting
terrible.
married right now. You know, Sylvan owns a house, and you know, you have to put into your perspective what your happiness is.
Exactly. And like so like even if you look at you can look at those around you, and if you constantly compare.
Because I mean, like look at Ray. He went 4 years.
Don't look at Ray.
No, I was gonna say, all right, let's take me as a comparison.
Like
living in the parents' basement.
living in the parents. He went 4 years in university to earn a degree in commerce. and
Commerce, though, I will admit, based on my brother, it's bullshit. They do not set you up at all.
No, because
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
commerce.
it's bullshit that I just jerked around
commerce,
for 4 years and still got a
commerce.
degree.
Honestly, commerce. A degree in commerce means you tried to network with people to build
and that's it.
that.
And you have to. And then the thing is, and like,
And then you have, you know, me and Ray, who we did our work in, and then we went home and played video games. That's what we did.
yeah, so unfortunately, if you're not, and that's the thing, they didn't, whereas like with SciAS, they're a lot more practical, right? With the journeyman, they set you up with the skills, and immediately you have the skills, and the company goes, do you have these skills? Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not sure if Sylvia, you could speak better on this, whether or not, like, I know experience obviously plays a big part.
Yeah.
But like, at least to the extent that experience plays a part, but at least they give you the skills to go, you are equipped with everything you need in the field. Maybe not like, you work on, I know you learn on the job. I know
Yeah.
that. But I meant in the sense that they at least on a hiring standpoint go, you have everything you need other than experience. Whereas commerce goes, this is a degree. Good luck. Like, fine, figure it out. Oh, if you didn't network back at that luncheon we did 2 years ago that had all the employers, we don't actually have any opportunities.
It's honestly, it's a degree in commerce is more about who you know as opposed to what you know.
Whereas I feel like at least, I don't know, actually no, I shouldn't even speak on this. You'd speak more on this. So like for you with carpentry, is it then something that you found that your skill set, at least off of being hired, like obviously not with experience, but at least the things you learned, was it easier to find a job, or at least not terribly difficult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was hired just as a laborer and then worked as a laborer, and then they offered me an apprenticeship program, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that in first year, and then you do 7 weeks of school, and then you work for, usually it's like a year, but it's hour wise. I think you need like 9,000 hours for a journeyman ticket, and
which is a good idea.
Yeah, like so you have a minimum requirement for a journeyman ticket. It's not just you did the school.
Yeah.
So like there are guys who, like there's a guy actually on my site right now who is going for his 4th year, but he doesn't have the hours on site to even, like he's like just by the time he finishes his schooling, he'll have enough hours for his 3rd year.
Oh, wow.
So even after he gets his journeyman, he'll have to do like a year, maybe 2 years of work before he can actually, they'll mail him his journeyman ticket. Even if he passes his IP.
But will he get paid as like I remember, because nursing, if you don't take your exam, you get paid as an undergrad, or not an undergrad. I think you're a grad nurse. You get paid as a certain wage.
That's up to the company.
Okay.
Because if you don't have the hours for that journeyman ticket, even though you passed your IP exam,
Technically, you don't meet
that. Yeah, technically you are not a journeyman yet. You don't have the experience required to be a journeyman. Yeah. So they might pay you as like a 4th year or something, and then once you get your ticket, then they will
up your
pay. But
and it can also go the other way, where it's like, oh, this guy's in his 4th year schooling, but he had enough hours to get his journeyman 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of old guys like that who like have been in construction their whole life, and then they now finally, like in my 2nd year, there was a 48-year-old. He had like 16,000 hours.
Oh yeah, it's because
he just went back to back and got his journeyman ticket in like a year.
Yeah, and you know sometimes you prioritize things over other things. Like if you really need the work, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like certain companies, like the one I work for, you can argue your wage. Like say like you are one of those guys who has like thousands and thousands of hours, but you don't have the actual like credentials. They may not pay you like a full journeyman wage until you prove that you are actually as good as a journeyman. They might start you with something and then
Slowly.
like say 3 months later it's like, no, we're relying on him pretty heavily. Like
Yeah, this guy knows his shit.
he knows his shit. Like he deserves this. But
Which is
yeah.
pretty incredible to give that kind of leeway.
Yeah. But there's a couple of people who have a journeyman ticket who
Don't
probably
deserve it.
shouldn't have a journeyman ticket. Like,
Same with nurses.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like
Oh, yeah.
there's a
From
couple
the
of people
stories
who are
I've
like
heard.
Oh, yeah.
really good at school. Like there was one guy who's like basically if he read it, he would remember it,
Damn.
but just was a terrible carpenter. He couldn't like put it into practice.
Yeah, or even alone, not even with practice, but like with even people skills, right? Like if they don't, like they can. I remember a few girls in nursing that same thing. They read the book and like almost like photographic memory. They read it once and they knew it. They you could ask them the exact value and they would know. And you're like, what the hell is this? Like human, like how the hell do you like calculator? How do you know this kind of stuff? Anyway, and they would essentially be amazing. Tests be amazing. Clinical, they would flounder. Because they get in the room and when they met with a real person, they go, and they freeze and they wouldn't know. And said like you, like with the one student not being able to apply it into practice, they wouldn't be able to take all that memorization. They would know what the average, like the health, like what temperature a person should be at, but they wouldn't. They would freeze about how to approach giving the person the thermometer. Like a what? But I know what the value is. I just don't know how to do it, or how do I talk to a person and explain
Let me
to them,
stick this in your mouth.
or in like for example in a lot of
I've been
like,
working on that
yeah,
one for a while.
but we
It
have
doesn't work.
example in nursing you have what's called OSCEs, and so it's essentially a simulation of what you'll experience on the workplace. So
The Amazon Echo.
no, but to an extent. So essentially it says like you come in and they essentially give you like a little rundown of what you're going into and what you're going to experience, but you're dealing with real people, and like and sometimes it's a mannequin, sometimes it's like a dummy that you're just kind of like palpating or whatever, but sometimes it's a real person. And the thing that really was unfortunate is that even in my case, like I do consider myself like I consider myself to have decent patient rapport. Like I'm usually pretty comfortable, I can get along, and I can be friendly and I can be professional. But when I went in, we had a time where as a male student in nursing, a lot of times for assessments, like when you're literally palpating, you're feeling each other, right? A lot of women, like, you don't really want to team up with a guy. You're the one guy out of 150 students, and there's 7 of guys, right? So, and you're never really in the same class, and if you are, maybe you're lucky, but half the time I'm practicing on a mannequin because no one else will help me, or maybe sometimes the instructor's nice enough to let you, but otherwise, I remember at one time I had to do I had to do an assessment on a person, and I had to and you have to to be able to hear heart sounds, you have to essentially go down a certain amount of ribs and be able to put the stethoscope there. And unfortunately, with the volunteer that I had was a girl, and I'd never done it on a girl before. I've only ever done it on a male mannequin, which is a lot different than a female chest. So when I went in there, I struggled, and then I started getting nervous, and immediately when I got nervous, the rest of it went downhill. I ended up kind of salvaging it because my skill set was at least okay. But when one thing happens, and like people who are awkward or who don't have that patient rapport, one thing will set them off, and regardless of how well they know the information, they'll freeze and they'll just revert to and they'll just completely flatten. So like I'm guessing like that guy that you work with, where he cannot put the actual work and the equations on the paper to the like the project itself, like where they just freeze and they go, I don't know how.
Well, like a lot of times he'll think too much on one part of it and completely forget another part.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Because they'll be so fixated on the exact amount, right? And like these nurses will go, I know what the temperature is. I know what the temperature is. And then all of a sudden the temperature will be a little bit higher. And they will think to themselves, I know what the normal temperature is. That's too high. That means it's wrong. Rather than, oh, did I not take off? Like, did I put it in the right location? Did I make sure that the patient had waited enough time or had been resting for enough? Like, right? They won't ask those questions because all they're thinking about is the value, the number, the exact amount. So it's unfortunate, but like, yeah, people like that where they struggle in the workplace, they need to be able to transfer it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of that is just based on experience, which sucks for like the medical field because like you can't really figure that out on the job.
Oh, that yeah. And
like
mannequins
at least with
can go so
construction,
far.
you can kind of like something doesn't work perfectly, you can salvage it midway through unless it's like finishing work, in which case it has to be like perfect.
But you can at least make some adjustments on it,
Yeah.
right? Up to that point. So you have some leeway. But yeah. School's weird.
School is
Well, that's
fucking weird.
yeah. That becomes a question of our school system, where it's, man, would it be nice if it's like math class? It's like, here's all the math equations, here's the formulas, you did it. Now let's apply it to a real world experience, where it's like, all right, we're doing a fucking house architecture or something when you'd actually need these equations.
No, they did. That guy really did buy 85 watermelons.
Yeah, he bought
He
85.
ate 14 of them.
He ate 8 applesauce. That is a real thing.
That's real. I only ate 2, and the airport guy took them. That means I only had 5 left.
Dan was a fucking math example.
Honestly, I was a math example, and I was taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And I'll have that be known.
You know what? We'll go and fight. We'll go and fight that TSA agent to get you your
Please
applesauce
do.
back.
He was a very large man and intimidating.
All right. On that note, that we're gonna call it right there because it's been real interesting talking to you boys about all this stuff.
Yeah, that's
It's cool. It's cool.
passionate.
I like this kind of stuff.
cool.
Anyways.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for joining me here today on another episode of the Entertaining Podcast. I will see you guys all hopefully next week. And yeah, glad you guys enjoyed it.
Peace.
Yeah.
Hi, family members.